All right, today we're going to look at factoring trinomials with an a value of 1. Remember, you always have to look for a GCF before you factor. Right, today we're probably not going to have a GCF because we're just learning this method, but the rule still applies. Always look for a GCF first. All right, how do I know how to factor? Step 1, always look for your GCF first. If there are 2 terms, you'll look for a difference of squares. If there are 3 terms, you'll use your factoring x. If there are 4 terms, you're going to group. Again, after you look for your GCF. All right, standard form of a quadratic. ax squared plus bx plus c. A, b, and c will be numbers. Today, our a value will just be 1. All right, so we have an example, x squared plus 9x plus 20. Step 1, make sure that your quadratic is in standard form. Okay? Is it in standard form? Yes. There's not an equal sign, it's standard form. Step 2, label your a, b, and c. Well, what's my a? A is 1, it's in front of that x squared. B is 9, and c is 20. Fill in your x. How do you fill in your x? Well, a times c goes on the top, so a is 1, c is 20. 1 times 20 is 20. B, which is 9, goes on the bottom. Okay? Then, that's step 3. Step 4, then find factors of the top that will add to give you the bottom. So, factors of 20. List them. 1 and 20, 2 and 10, 4 and 5. Which set of these will add together to give me my bottom, which is 9? 1 times 20 is 21, not that set. 2 plus 10 is 12, nope. 4 plus 5, that's 9. So, put these terms on your side. Plus 5, plus 4. It does not matter which side you put them on. Okay? Because those are my factors that add together to give me 20. Those factors will then help make my binomials. Since my a is just equal to 1, I can take my sides and just make them straight into binomials. If a equals 1, we have to go a little bit farther. Okay? So my binomials are going to be x plus 5 and x plus 4. And then I guess we have a step 6 would be to check. How do you check this? Well, you're going to use FOIL or double distributive. X times x gives me x squared. X times 4 is 4x. 5 times x, 5x. 5 times 4 plus 20. Combine those like terms. So x squared plus 9x plus 20. Does that match my answer? Or my original problem? It sure does. So this is my answer. Okay. It can get a little confusing, so you know. So what signs go in my binomials? Well, first look at your c. If your c term is positive, then you need to look at your b. If b is positive, then both factors will be positive. If b is negative, both factors will be negative. If your c is negative, then you look at your b. If b is positive, the bigger factor in each pair will be positive. So if the bigger is positive, then we know the smaller will be negative. If b is negative, the bigger factor in each pair will be negative. So the smaller will have to be a positive. Okay? This chart will really help you. If you don't have a copy of it, you might want to write it down. All right, number 1, example. Okay? So, our steps. Step 1, make sure that it is in standard form. Is this standard form? Yes, it is standard form. Okay? Step 2, label your A, B, and C. Well, what's my A? My A is this understood 1 right there. My B is 11, and my C is 24. Right? In the top of my X, we fill in our X next, we have A times C. So 1 times 24 is 24. And then your B at the bottom, which is 11. Okay? Then find your factors of the top. So I need factors of 24. That's 1 in 24, 2 in 12, 3 in 8, 4 and 6. Based on the chart that we just looked at, C was positive, B is also positive, so both factors will be positive. So I'm going to write a plus sign. Okay. So which set adds together to give me 11? 1 plus 24 is 25. 2 plus 12 is 15. 3 plus 8, hey, that's 11. 4 plus 6, that's 10. That doesn't work. So 3 and 8 are my factors. Because my A value is 1, I can just go and put my factors in their binomials. So my binomials will be x plus 3, x plus 8. From here, what do I do next? Well, I can check. Right? So x times x gives me x squared. X times 8 gives me 8x. 3 times x, 3x. 3 times 8, 24. Combine those like terms. X squared plus 11x plus 24. That matches, so this is my final answer. Okay, let's look at number 2. Number 2 is done the same way. You might want to try pausing your video and try this one on your own. All right, step 1, make sure your quadratic is in standard form. Is it standard form? Yes. Okay. Step 2, label your A, B, and C. Well, we know A is this understood 1, B is 10, C is 9. Then we fill in our X. The top is A times C, so 1 times 9 is 9. My bottom is my B, which is 10. All right, factors of 9, 1 and 9, 3 and 3. Before I go any farther, I need to know what my signs are going to be. Think back to that chart. C was positive and B is positive, so that means my sides are both positive. If you want to write pluses beside all your numbers, that's fine. Which set adds together to give me 10? Well, 1 plus 9. Again, because my A value is 1, I can make my binomials. So what are my binomials going to be? X plus 1 and x plus 9. Or I can say for sure, I need to check. So x times x gives me x squared. X times 9 is 9x. 1 times x is 1x. 1 times 9 is plus 9. 9 plus 1, so x squared plus 10x plus 9. Does that match? Yes, it does. So this is my final answer. Number 3. Okay. Is this in standard form? Yes. So label your A, B, and C. So A is understood 1, B, and C. The top of my X is A times C. So 1 times 21 is 21. My B is not just 22, but negative 22. That is important. All right, factors of 21. 1 and 21, 3 and 7. Now let's look at those signs. Based on my chart, it said look at C first. C is positive. So then look at your B. Your B is negative. If C is positive and B is negative, the chart told us both my sides have to be negative. So make your numbers negative. That will help us find our set. So we're trying to add to negative 22. So negative 1 and negative 21 give me negative 22. Negative 1 and negative 21. My binomials will be x minus 1, x minus 21. Again, because our a value is 1, we can go straight to our binomials. But I need to check. X times x gives me x squared. X times 21 gives me negative 21x. Negative 1 times x, negative 1x. Negative 1 times 21 plus 21. Combine your like terms. X squared minus 22x plus 21. Okay, so does that match my answer? Yes, it does. So this is my answer. Number 4. Let's fill in my labeling. Your A is 1, your B is 13, and your C is negative 48. The top of your X, A times C. 1 times negative 48 is negative 48. Your B on the bottom is positive 13. Okay? Factors of negative 48. 1 and 48. 2 and 24. 3 and 16. 4 and 12. 6 and 8. I believe that's all of them. Okay, now let's look and find out our negatives, or our signs, whichever positive, negatives, whatever they might be. All right, our chart. Think back to your chart. Say if C is negative and B is positive, I'm going to have one of each sign. Okay, well, which one gets to be negative? Well, something to help us remember, our bigger number matches our bottom. Our bigger number matches our bottom. Put the negatives on the wrong one. So I need negative on my smaller number. My smaller number gets to be negative. Okay? So which set adds together to give me a positive 13? Well, you know it's negative 3 and positive 16. Okay? So let's go through and do this. Let's make our binomials. Why can I make my binomials right now? I can make my binomials right now because my a value is 1. So my binomials are going to be x plus 16, x minus 3. Let's check. X times x gives me x squared. X times negative 3x plus 16x minus 48. Okay, then we need to, from here, combine those like terms. So, x squared plus 13x minus 48. Does that match my original problem? Yes, it does. So, this is my answer. I hope that this lesson has helped you. Please, if you have any questions, consult your teacher.